You're listening to the Digital Deep Dive, where we tackle the newest trends, strategies, and pain points shaping growth across the digital landscape. From Amazon and D2C to international expansion, join our host and e-commerce leaders across multiple industries for in-depth discussions on how to maximize your brands in the digital arena. Now, here's your host, Aaron Conant.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Digital Deep Dive podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Conant, and today we're going to dive into 2026 AI predictions for what's coming down the pipe. A longtime friend, Max Sinclair, just an all-around great resource for the network as a whole. Max, I'll have you explain to people what you do, because when you get into the nitty-gritty of it, I love AI, I love the LLMs, I love all that fun stuff, but you live it. So I'll kick it over to you. But if you want to do a brief intro yourself and then Azoma and what you guys are doing over there, because I just hear fantastic things, that'd be great. And we can jump into some conversation on what we think is going to take place in 2026. Sound good?
Sounds great. It's great to be back. Happy New Year to you and everyone
Happy New Year.
Listening.
I love it.
So I'm Max. I'm the founder of Azoma. We are the world's first agentic commerce optimization company. So we help brands get recommended in AI answer engines and by AI agents. We're working with brands such as Mars, Colgate, HP, Beiersdorf, P&G. I mean, the list goes on and on. We've got about we've got 8 of the top 30 FMCGs now. We have a whole host of very cool challenger brands that we're working with. And we're just helping them to increase their share of recommendations in this new era of AI, which is fast approaching us these days, with 40% of Amazon shoppers using Rufus on Black Friday. And with the launch yesterday or the day before of ChatGPT Health and the amount of people who are going to be buying their supplements and their workout equipment through this agentic ChatGPT Health experience. I mean, it's a fast-moving landscape, and we're here to help the world's leading brands navigate through it.
So I want to, we might as well just jump right into these predictions, because something that comes to mind to me, which people bring up all the time right now, is agentic commerce. And kind of the conversation I have with them is like, it doesn't really matter if you're not getting recommended, right? You can be set up for everything, but if the LLMs aren't recommending you, then there's no agentic commerce to take place. But do you see, what do you see brands, I think, at a couple of things, how are they handling showing up in the LLMs, and who's ahead, who's behind, what percentages are behind, or are we at 90% of people are doing it? And the other thing is, then do you see actually agentic commerce taking off this year?
Well, I think it's firstly important to define what is agentic commerce. And lots of people throw out the word agent. To me, we can only call AI agentic if it takes if it can do multi-step tasks and then take a decision on our behalf. So has been a pretty high bar. So I think using ChatGPT, which then just kind of generates a response, is not agentic, because it's not taking multiple steps. It's doing one step, which is, even if it's a reasoning model and it's, generating a whole bunch of things and summarizing them, it's not truly agentic because it's not taking multiple independent steps. I think with the launch of ChatGPT Health, for the first time, commerce in OpenAI becomes agentic. What do I mean by this? ChatGPT Health integrates with your Apple Health data. It integrates with your MyFitnessPal. You can upload your medical records. You can then speak to it via voice, and you can say, or like upload a photo of a bite or a whatever you have on a bump on your arm, and say, "Hey, ChatGPT, I've got this. What do you think is wrong with me? What do I need to do?" And it will assess your medical records. It will assess your sleep, your diet, everything all of your data that you've connected to it, and the input you give it, and then it will make a tailored recommendation to you. So it's, they're in their launch announcement, they said that they're integrating this with Instacart. So that could be a meal plan that you could then check out and buy in ChatGPT. But soon it will be the supplements through Shopify. It will be, workout equipment. It'll be all sorts of different things that people will be buying. And to me, that given there's multiple steps in there, which is analyzing lots of data, then going to scrape the internet and understand what makes sense from this data, and then making a recommendation and then a purchase. To me, that hits the definition of agentic. And I think this adoption moves quicker than anyone thinks is even possible. And just think about what is a better experience from a customer. As you can see, I'm having a bit of a problem as I kind of progress in my 30s with hair loss. Maybe yeah, maybe we're together on that one, Aaron. But so what am I going to put in hair loss pills and then just buy whoever's bid on a Google ad or an Amazon ad? Of course not, right? I'm going to ask a ChatGPT Health. It's going to look at my diet. It's going to look at my exercise routine, my sleep, and then it's going to recommend me something specific. And by the way, even before ChatGPT Health, ChatGPT was beating benchmarks versus human doctors on diagnosis. And that's without all of this data, just in general. Of course, I'm going to take that recommendation. I'm going to buy it. And it doesn't take a stretch of imagination to say, okay, we've got ChatGPT, got a health one. Anthropic may launch one for pets. Amazon Rufus is very good in my opinion for lots of different things. We're going to be moving into this world of agentic commerce in 2026, and it's going to be faster than any of us can imagine. And that's what we're working on and building at Azoma to help brands navigate this.
So you kind of scare me just a little, because I don't think people want it to move faster, but I do agree with you. I think it's the rate of adoption of ChatGPT, and because people were hesitant for a while, and then the hockey stick that it hit was just once you saw people outperforming or using it or giving recommendations, even on a personal level, all of a sudden it had its just absolutely skyrocket. And if we're already on the hockey stick and we're already comfortable and we're already having it give us recommendations, I do this. I don't just use it for work. I mean, I use it a lot in personal life, right? I'm planning vacations with this thing, and it is phenomenal, and making recommendations as you go.
Yeah.
It's just one step further to plug in a little bit more data to get it more personalized. And you think that's
Definitely.
this year?
And this is this year. And I get what you say by scary, but I just think this is fantastic. I mean, you're in the US, right? And I know telehealth is big in the US and is hundreds of dollars for a 15-minute video call with some doctor, super expensive. They've basically got not much context. In the UK where I am and in Canada, we have to wait weeks to see someone, even the it's state, so it's free, although obviously the taxpayer is paying for it. But we have to wait weeks to see a doctor. Then you get 15 minutes with someone who's super overworked, super tired, has no context about you or anything, and just reels off something generic. Now, $20 a month, everyone in the world is going to have something which performs better than the best physicians for the super rich. I mean, it's an incredibly empowering world that we're moving into. It's super excited for all of our health. I mean, my hairline is probably going to be a lot better than it would be if it wasn't for these agents, right? And that's true of pet. That's true of all aspects of our lives in ways we can't even imagine yet. These agents are just going to be super useful. And why would we? I'm super excited. My fiance is already kind of playing around with it. It's been here for 2 days, and I think it's just a great, what a time to be alive, right?
Yeah. So then, what do brands need to do to prep for this? Because I'm just going back to the speed of things over and over again. Because I think about the old time when you were going to try to get things up and going on Amazon, and it's all of a sudden it's 18 months before you can hit the hockey stick, and then you can trim this down to 12 months, and so you can trim it down to 4 months. There's these timelines keep getting shorter and shorter for adoption, which means brands don't have 18 to 24 months to wait this out. So
and we're seeing this now with the brands we're working with, and we're working with some of the largest FMCGs in the world. And I think, beyond the technology that obviously we provide, what is really needed to utilize this and get ahead of it is an AEO task force, which has the permission of senior leadership just to go, because this is everywhere. This is social media. This is PR. This is on-site content. This is product listing content. All of this needs to be optimized in the right way. in the right narrative for these AI agents to pick up and recommend you. And that's obviously we provide the technology to use it, but often we see that like we're ready to go on day one. Like we're a fast moving company. I mean, we're just talking beforehand. You met some of the team, like super young, super energetic. Some of the two PhDs, multiple AI machine learning engineers from the top researchers in the world, top data scientists. Also, we got fantastic team. We're ready and raring to go. We get a customer, and then we see that actually like that our champions want to do stuff, but they're like just shackled back by organizations which were not built for this world. They were built for a previous world, like the traditional e-commerce world, and so much is changing so quickly that I think that is the key thing that people need to do is have this like AO task force which changes the RACI and is in charge of taking the they take the decisions, they take the actions, and like other people are informed if they need to be, but they don't block it, they don't go through. We don't, you don't need to review everything by every team if you're putting out, a recipe, let's say on a landing page, which is going to help you get recommended in AI search because it's a trending, food topic, and like you want to be in that conversation. You've got to just be able to execute fast. And we're seeing, some of our customers, I won't name names, are doing a really good job, CEO level, to transition this. And we're talking about, $10 billion companies plus, maybe 20, $50 billion plus companies. So that's what I think is really needed. Obviously, if you're a challenger brand, and we also work with, some of the most exciting brands, I think, out there, like David Protein, Perfect Ted, like, super exciting, and, challenger brands, changing the space. These guys can move a lot faster, and they're really doing well. So, if you're in a big organization, that's something that you need to think about to adapt.
It's really interesting because we've seen this play out. I think from just coming from larger corporate America, right? Is you had all these challenger brands who took that early adoption with direct to consumer, but especially Amazon. They're able to build a massive brand out of nowhere. The big conglomerates then come in and buy it. And they were kind of caught off guard by the power of Amazon, the internet, D2C and everything. They've learned that lesson, right? And yet we're faced now with this next step, which is AEO, GEO, SEO, then however we want to clarify this, right? The LLMs and visibility within them. And again,
ACO. ACO is what I'm going for, agentic commerce optimization. But there's loads out there. That's one that I've made up, but that feels like what we need to be doing. But
it's called what? Agentic
commerce optimization, ACO.
ACO. Okay. Agentic commerce optimization. All right. So we've got the ACO. Like they know now, well, at least they've been presented with what's going to happen if they don't stay on the forefront, right? Which I wouldn't say it's necessarily risky. It's just the unknown, right? It was the unknown of Amazon. Is it going to impact our traditional retailers and our business and our top line, bottom line, blah, blah, blah. We've seen it happen, caught off guard. They should not be caught off guard again. And yet what I'm hearing is they're almost, they're taking the same stance as before in some cases, which is, whoa, let's not quite do it. And I don't think you can afford to not quite do it. And I'll just extend that thought a little bit. Having seen what happened before, now they're in a perfect position, right, to defend every brand they have by being the top one to show up in search. If they tackle it early, they have the money to spend. If they divert some marketing dollars a little bit right now, it's going to save a ton of heartache.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be fair to our customers. As I said, I am watching big organizations tackle this at C-level, front row seat.
That's encouraging.
I definitely for our customers, absolutely, like top priority. I can't speak for the obviously the vast majority of brands out there are not our customers, and I can't speak for them at all. I don't know. I imagine that everyone who I talk to is, someone who is very enthusiastic about AI, sees that this is changing, wants to be that person in their organization who, champions this new bigger shift than the internet internally. And so I'm talking to a bunch of these people all day, and they love it and they get it. So I don't know, but yeah, I would imagine in the broader ecosystem, but you have a much better view on this than me, Aaron. Like, probably not as much.
Yeah, yeah, I would. Yeah, that's what I would say. Is there's a lot of people out there. I mean, obviously, the people that are jumping in with you have a completely different mindset, right? They're totally ahead of the game. They've learned a lesson. They understand the importance of staying on the top of technology. Just so happens trying to talk to 20 to 30 different brands a week. There's a good portion of those that just aren't. They're still a little hesitant, if not a lot hesitant. And it's just funny that it's like just mimics the same conversations. Like you can't ignore this, right? It's not, back in my days at Perigo, when we were trying to first launch on Amazon, the question from the executive team was, more of the statement like, hey, we're not sure if we want to be part of this conversation on Amazon right now. And or if we're not sure we want this conversation to take place on Amazon. And my comment was, because it's not about whether you want it to take place, it's already taking place. It's whether you want to be a part of it. And this is this exact same thing.
Thing. That's exactly right. Like, you may not, you may be a brand thinking, I don't really want to be in ChatGPT health. Like, I'm a bit worried about XYZ, It's like, well, it doesn't matter. Like, 230 million people use it every week to talk about health before they launch this. That's before they launch it. What's going to happen in the next few weeks, months ahead? Well, the average American prompts ChatGPT every day, one prompt a day across America. And that's only going in one direction, right? So it's the same thing. Either you want to be part of it or you don't. Like, you can't. It's happening.
Yeah. So then the next step is then, do you see then? So if we look at what's going to happen in 2026, obviously that the announcement, right, with ChatGPT, this idea of agentic commerce, the idea of actually ads being put in there, we'll set that aside for now. So we're going to have this push into actual agentic commerce. We're going to have this push of continued adoption of ChatGPT. We need to have a push in the upskilling of people as a whole across almost every industry that's out there. But we'll stick it to e-commerce for this right now. Like, are you seeing a push in upskilling or interest or training or understanding? Or it comes up in a lot of my conversations. Hey, they want they want a training session on it. Well, what does that look?
I mean, maybe, yeah, exactly. Like, maybe I'm biased, but I think there's one way to learn this stuff and to do it right. Like, maybe it's just my learning type. Like, to be fair, I listen to a lot of podcasts. So for those who are listening, I'm in your bucket. I'm listening to podcasts in the gym, on my walk. So I listen by learning, I learn by listening, and then I also learn by actually doing. So that's just my I don't know. Maybe some people want some presentations and workshops or whatever, but like, what better way to learn than just to jump into it? And honestly, the world's changing so fast. What could you put? You just gotta be in it and like be riding it and understanding how everything is moving, because it's moving extremely quickly.
Yeah. What else do you see coming down the pipe, or what do people have to be thinking about to make sure they're at the forefront? Because what I find right now is a lot of people think they're behind, and they're behind the clear leaders, but there's the other 99% of people that they're right in the pack with. What does it take to get to step two? What recommendations? You meet with a company, you can see that they're hesitant to join, to jump into ACO, any of this space whatsoever. What is that the discussion then switches, right? Like, hey, we need to get you prepped just to be comfortable. What does that conversation look like?
I mean, I'm not in the position. It's a hard one for me because obviously I go to events and stuff, so I spend time talking to just general people in the space. I don't do, I'm not doing any sales. So the only people I'm talking to is our biggest customers, and these guys are 100% in, and they're just trying to navigate their organizations about how to what we should, what they should be using in our tool, like how to we can do a bunch of integrations, how like working through, that side of it and the legal, the PR, and like, to actually like publish it and syndicate the stuff that we're giving to them. So I'm maybe not in the right position to answer that. I think leadership buy-in is like, from my perspective, is a key thing, and like it's senior leadership buy-in. This is a C-level discussion, it's a board level discussion. Like, so they just need to, again, it's easy for me to say, but they need to get these people behind them.
Yeah, what I would say then, if we switch a little bit, like, what are the biggest apprehensions that you help them get over? Right? Like, there's got to be major questions that pop up at the C-suite. And what I have is a lot of people right now being told by the C-suite to do AI, whatever that means. Just go do it. Get us AI. And then there's this educational piece like, hey, okay, we found something, like we found an Azoma. We want to plug it in. We want to roll with it. And they have to go explain. And then there's natural apprehensions. Are there like normal ones that pop up all the time?
Look, as you know, we've been working on optimizing for LLMs for 3 years, and now for agents for 9 months or whatever it's been. When we founded this company, we were showing people science papers from OpenAI, from Amazon, and saying, "Hey, look, there's an LLM here. This is what's at work." For AIO, right? And selling, this was way before this was cool or hot or AEO or Geo existed. And at that point, we were talking to really, really early adopters where, I was on the sales calls at that point, and I was literally sharing my screen on science papers, like 3 science papers are cool, and saying, this is happening, this is what's happening in the background, and kind of explaining the future. And we'd be getting pushback. Like, one of our, investors is eBay Ventures. And I remember going to their offices multiple times, talking to senior leadership, and they're saying, you're never going to have an LLM on a marketplace because it's going to destroy the ads business. Like, why, if you do an LLM and it just puts one answer there, rather than, you put in a keyword and then you can have the sponsored products, it destroys the ad business. Plus, it's like 100 times more expensive per query. So 2.5 years ago, there was real pushback of, this is never going to happen. It's too expensive. It's going to destroy the cash cow. And those were harder sales calls, because you'd have to be like, look, this is what's happening. They may not be announcing it yet, but there's, Amazon have just integrated an LLM in Cosmo. This is like 2023, 24. And this is what's happening. And this is what it means. This is how you optimize. I think now in 26, those conversations have subsided. I think you'd be very hard pressed to find a senior leader who would not believe that agentic commerce is going to be, they may debate if it's going to a 26 priority, a 27 priority, a 28 priority, but like, I don't think anyone who is, got 2 brain cells, I think no one's going to be pushing back and saying, no, this is not going to be a thing, which it was, you'd have like smart people saying that a few years ago. So I don't know. But I can move on to a different prediction, Aaron.
No, I think it's just interesting just to follow this over the past couple of years, where even, conversations that I've had with brands, where it hasn't been, it's everybody's been thinking it's something that's out there, that's coming, that I don't necessarily have to deal with. But just in the past 6 months, in my opinion, that the interest from brands has just absolutely exploded. Especially the leading brands, the people that are sitting on the forefront, the smartest people out there that I talk to in all of digital. This is now top of mind for them, and it's gone beyond just AI. It's gone into agentic. What's next? So it's just awesome to follow the story. What do you find most exciting about 2026? Is there anything else, like any wild cards that are out there?
Yeah. I can end on a wild card. So I think we will move in 2026 beyond LLM and the large language model. And what I'm very excited about are world models. And we've already got some of these live today, so we've got like DeepMind's Genie 3, we've got World Labs, but basically a world model is where from text you can generate an entire simulation and you can walk around this as a character in this simulation and it will generate, you walk through a door and it will generate the new room and they have memory. So they will kind of, remember this world that you create. So obviously this is, the obvious application for this is gaming, right? Like, you can have never-ending games with this technology that just a map sprawls forever. Pretty cool. I mean, I personally am not a gamer, never game, but I think what is going to be really interesting is how this applies to e-commerce and brands. And I'm not saying I know I have any answers, but I can, I like to think about how like YouTube changes with this like AI world models, or us scrolling Twitter or LinkedIn changes where, rather than just getting like, we have AI slop now everywhere, but like you kind of enter this world and can explore it. How does that change social media? How does that change how brands, new ways that brands can kind of advertise products and have collaborations with um influencers and ordinary folks like. So I think there's this another huge technology wave and shift coming with these world models. And
It's like
yeah,
the
I think that's really
metaverse then?
cool. Sorry.
Is it like the metaverse? Do you remember going back a few years? Everybody's talking about the metaverse and,
Yeah.
FTs and, you can walk through these 3D rendered and stores are going to be that way. And then all of a sudden it totally dropped off the planet.
Yeah, it dropped off because of AI, right? But I remember that I was never super convinced by that. I think the whole like NFT thing, which is like, oh, you can own this like digitized thing in the metaverse and it's yours and no one else. Like, it's like a physical thing. That's not what I'm really talking about. And yeah, like I was never, never owned an
Yeah.
NFT. Always thought it was a complete scam. Have lots of friends who did own NFTs and have lost lots of money. But I always, I've never been particularly convinced by crypto or any of this kind of stuff. Um, I think this is fundamentally different, whereby, like AI can generate entire worlds that sprawl forever, and how entertainment changes, how advertising changes, how social media changes based on that. I think we don't know. And like pulling it back to this LLM transformation, we've got so many applications which would have been unimaginable, back when ChatGPT first launched. Like we talked about ChatGPT Health. Imagine when you first saw ChatGPT that you're like, oh yeah, in 3 years' time, you're going to upload all your health data to this thing, and it's going to like diagnose you really successfully. And at the time, it was kind of like spitting out like quite cool poems, but like would hallucinate horribly, and the images, looked horrendous. And you'd be like, oh yeah, you're going to be able to, So I just think I don't know how this will impact stuff, but I think 2026 people start hearing more about it. People start, like we'll start to see some application in the e-commerce space from this. I don't know how.
It's amazing. Again, a little scary for me. I'm just because I'm getting old. That's probably it.
Right. I mean, what is scary is that you just don't know what's true anymore. Like you go on LinkedIn or Twitter and you see a video and you're like, oh, well, is this real or is this just AI? Because basically everything looks the same. It's really hard to know what's real, what's fake. And yeah, maybe world models are just going to compound this problem. Who knows?
Yeah. No, this has been awesome, my friend. Like, I don't know if you. So fundamentally, when people engage, and we're going to kind of wrap it up, but I'll kick it over to you one just to kind of recap, if you want to, like when people engage with Azoma, like what are you doing and what are the results, so people know that it's available, and then we can kind of wrap this episode up.
Absolutely. We're helping the world's most loved brands stay dominant in the era of AI. We're showing them what their AI visibility is, but we're actually, an agentic commerce syndication platform that enables them to take action and be recommended more by AI engines. So we're, far more than just kind of like what's your visibility in ChatGPT, but that's part of it as well. In terms of the results that they can expect, normally I don't like to talk about it, but one of our customers actually went to Modern Retail, the newspaper, whatever they are, publication, and talked about it. This is Mars. So Mars kind of spoke, and they said that they saw an 8% increase in search visibility on the brands we're working with them. This is Pedigree, Starburst, 5 Gum, Extra, M&M's, Extra, Refreshers. And we actually do more than that now. So that's publicly, they spoke to Modern Retail about using us and doing that. We've got some more case studies on the website. I mean, fundamentally, like an 8% increase in search visibility for Mars on Amazon, which is what we did for them and others. But on Amazon, it's tens of millions of dollars, right? Like, these are super competitive brands and categories, and like it's all about revenue at the end of the day. We try and when we work with customers to always tie it down to like what extra revenue we're driving. Fundamentally, obviously, that's what they need to show. Their leadership. So those are some of the results. There's other case studies on the site about one of them. We 5x'd website traffic from ChatGPT. That was with Winn-Dixie, who are a retailer in the southeast United States. Probably many of the listeners here know them in Florida and in these kind of places. So yeah, like if you want to increase your recommendations in AI search, come speak to us at Azoma.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Max, for you guys and the team being such great friends, partner supporters of the network. And with that, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Digital Deep Dive. Thanks everybody for listening in.
Happy 26.
Happy 2026.